Hey parents, Brian here with Superior Sports Psyche, and welcome to this video where I talk about the mental game of sports and how your athlete's mental mindset can affect their performance. And today we're going to be talking about something that's often very overlooked, but it's very incredibly powerful, and that's your athlete's self-talk. Now, self-talk is the way your child talks to themselves before, during, and after their competition, and it has a major impact on how they will perform and how confident they are going to feel. Now, first, if you would like to learn more about the mental game and how the mindset affects performance, please like and subscribe to this channel. So, self-talk. It's that constant inner voice inside your athlete's head. It's that quiet conversation they're having with themselves during every game, every practice, and even after every mistake. It's that internal dialogue that you can either build them up or quietly just tear them down. See, the problem is most athletes really just don't understand that this is happening. Now, there are two major types of self-talk that your athlete will experience. One is external self-talk and the other is internal self-talk. Now, external self-talk is when your athlete tends to focus on what's happening around them. They focus on their opponent, maybe the field conditions they're playing, the referees that are assigned to their game, possibly even the weather. Okay? Have you heard your athlete say things like, I'm going to lose today because the other team or the other player, they're in first place? Or I can't stand this referee. They're always against us. Now, see, these thoughts seem very small, okay, but they will shift their focus away from what matters. And it puts your athlete in a distracted and really a frustrated mindset even before the game has even started. Now, then there's the internal self-talk. This is when they talk about themselves. And this one can be especially very damaging to themselves. And it kind of sounds like, you'll hear them say, well, I'm terrible, or I suck, or I always mess up, or what if I blow this again and make a mistake? Now, instead of focusing on effort and skill and preparation, your athlete is focusing on fear and self-doubt. Now, from a sports psychologist's perspective, self-talk is huge because of the relationship that it has between an athlete's thoughts and their emotions and how it has an effect on performance. See, negative thoughts will elicit negative emotions, which will in turn negatively affect your performance. So if your athlete is thinking negative thoughts or fearful thoughts, they're likely going to play very tight, they're going to be hesitant, and they're going to be afraid to make mistakes. Now, on the other hand, if you have an athlete and their thoughts are confident and encouraging, they're going to be able to play much looser, freer, and they're going to be more focused, and they're going to enjoy and have more fun in their sport. Now, that's the difference in how they talk to themselves often determines whether they perform to their true potential or not. Now, parents, please understand this. Self-talk doesn't just affect your athlete in the present moment. It shapes what they believe about themselves over time. See, when an athlete repeatedly tells themselves that they're not good enough or I'm always going to screw up, this will become part of their identity. They'll start believing those statements, and that belief begins to show up in their body language, in their confidence levels, and even in their performance. So think about this. If your child says, I hope I don't make any mistakes today, on the surface that might sound not so bad, okay? But that is a fear-based type of a statement. It tells them that they're focusing on avoiding failure instead of trying to pursue success. And when an athlete plays from a place of fear, they hold back. They play cautious, and they stop trusting their abilities and their training. And after a mistake, the negative self-talk can snowball to beliefs such as, I'm just so awful, okay? Or I don't do anything right. And now they're emotionally deflated and defeated before the game is even over. So that's why confidence isn't just about physical skills. It's more about the way how your athlete thinks. Now, if they consistently criticize themselves, they're training their brain to look at what's wrong. And that's not correct. And over time, what's going to happen is that's going to become a habit. And habits of thoughts eventually will become their beliefs. And when that happens, it's just not going to be a bad day anymore. That negative mindset that will follow them into every competition. But also, it was going to affect them in their off the field events. If your athlete has negative views on themselves athletically, it can also affect them academically as well as socially. So, what can parents do to help? Now, the first thing I want you to do, and the first big step, is have awareness. Start listening to the way your athlete talks about their performance. Do they focus on the mistakes more than their effort? Do they talk down to themselves after their games? Do they use words like always or never? For example, I always choke, or I'll never play well against that team or that player. Now, if so, that's a sign that your athlete's self-talk is leaning negatively. So instead, I want you to do is encourage them and reframe their thinking. When you hear your child and your athlete say, I can't do this, teach them and add the word yet. I can't do this yet. Okay? If they turn around and says, I can't hit a fastball, I can't hit this fastball yet or right now. Or instead of I always mess up, shift this thinking to I'm going to get better every time I go out there and try. Now, these simple reframes might sound small, but they're going to help your athlete take back control of their thoughts and start building a more confident and internal voice that they can listen to. Now, at Superior Sports Psyche, I work with athletes on strategies like this every day, teaching them to manage their negative thoughts, build emotional control, and train their minds just like they do when they train their bodies. Because when an athlete learns how to manage their self-talk, their confidence will grow, their focus is going to improve, and they will start to play up to their true potential. And if you want to learn more about how to help your athlete build mental strength and confidence, then check out the description below for my coaching programs and online courses, as well as my free webinar, okay, which is called Raising a Resilient Athlete. And I share 7 tips to raise a confident athlete. So I encourage you to check out that webinar. And if you have any concerns that your athlete's mindset is affecting their performance, then please email me and we can set up a free Zoom and we can discuss your athlete's situation. My email is listed below as well too. Now parents, remember this, you can't control every thought your athlete has, but you can influence the environment that shapes those thoughts. So encourage positive self-talk at home. Model it, reinforce it, and remind your athlete that mistakes don't define them. Growth does. So thank you for watching, and remember, your athlete's mindset is the foundation of their success.